So with one World Championship decided, we are going to move on very swiftly to see how long it's going to take, whether it's going to be one GP or two GPs races, to decide who's going to be the MX1 World Champion here at the beautiful circuit of and countryside. It is absolutely gorgeous here now. As it's been, early morning rain has disappeared and we've got blue skies, white clouds and a gorgeous track to which we are going to have a look with possibly the new world champion in MX1. We will probably go for a lap around here. The Porcel in pole position, Ramon in second, Barragan, the Spaniard, in third place. The Dijker and Coppins, De Roiver, Prem, Lioc and De Sale up in the top 10. Alex Salvini coming in for a bit of a wild card race. Tom Church down there in 20th position with Carlos Campano on the UTAG Yamaha, Cedric Milot on the Aprilia, and before they go into a two-bike team for next year. But there is still a heck of a lot of racing to be had in this championship. Ramon is 14 points behind Philip Arts. The Dijker outside shot 25 points. So the two Tekka Suzuki riders have got to basically, I had a quick word earlier on, and there is no team orders in Suzuki. There are definitely no team orders. They've been told to go out and run their own race. And it was, I think there's some concern that Suzuki team, although they could claim second and third place in the championship, really it's the number one spot they want. And it's going to be interesting to see how this story unfolds with Barragan, Coppins, Nagel and Porcel still in with a shout. Billy McKenzie not really figuring around at the moment, still suffering from an injury down in 15th position. I hope he gets better for the nations. This is going to be a cracking race, I'm sure, as the gate goes down. And who has got the jump down there? I think Porcel has been squeezed out slightly, right down on the inside as they go flying up. That looked like a KTM in first position. Everybody's safely out of there, and I'm pretty sure that was Nagel that was up at the front of that pack. Yep, it's Max Nagel on the Red Bull KTM, and that was the 14 of De Roiver in second position. Oh, we're going to have some fun and games with this guy. He was absolutely on top of it last weekend at Lierop. I really do hope. There does look as though there's one of the Kawasaki's in there. And which one is that? That looks very much like Porcel in a changed riding strip. Again, a little bit more colourful, a little more patriotic and French. There was a lot of red, white and blue in that as Porcel pushes on. Staying with that team for 2009 and likes this course here. And who is that? That looks possibly, was that Coppins up there as well? Grief, and I think Julian Bill was in there. They've been very quiet over the last couple of GPs, but Porcel and the Garp now fighting for first position as we are going to have a look down the field to find where our contenders are going to be. It's the Suzuki's and the Soul Yamaha, although I dare say it, Coppins won't like me for saying that, but Josh on a bit of roll. That is Philip Arts, I believe. It looks like no, it's not De Dijker. I think that was De Sale behind him. He is closing in on Barragan. That is down in something like about 10th and 11th position. And I'm sure he's not going to get any change down there from the young Spaniard who has been one of the most winning overall GP riders, but not up in the consistency stakes for Jonathan Barragan. As we concentrate down the pack, it looks like the Suzuki's are down there. De Dijker is down in 15th position, where at the moment Ramon is up in third. Oh my goodness me, this is going to upset the apple cart. 14 points between the pair of them. This could keep it unbelievably close if it carries on like this. Philip Arts looking to try and race with he's got to race with his head now. Can't panic, got to get the signs from the team and stop looking at all those number 19 banners. There goes Coppins, there's Philip Arts, Barragan in front of him. And although there might be a few orders going out from the board, I'm sure Josh is not going to let Philip Arts have an easy ride on this. They are both signed up, I believe, for 2009. But Philip Arts is really going to have a hard time trying to get past Barragan because the young Spaniard is not going to make life easy for him by no stretch of the imagination. And with the Dijker coming through on that one, you've got to look. This is going to be unbelievably tense, this race. That's McKenzie. who is in 4th position. Billy riding hurt, not qualifying. He hasn't been able to get on the bike because of the injuries that he's been suffering. Cracked a rib a couple of GPs back. Has now done his usual thing. The adrenaline has absolutely pumped in as Philip Arts has gone past Barragan, but they're queuing up behind him. This is going to be an absolute dogfight down this part of the world. Philip Arts needs to make a bit of a break on that one, as Barragan seems to be holding the queue up behind. Now that is down in something like about 8th, 9th, 10th, etc, etc. Ramon has dropped down the field. He has lost quite a few laps on that one, sorry, places. So as we and over the line, it was Nagel, Porcel, De Ruyver, McKenzie, Julian Bill. So it looks as though the Hondas, the Martin Hondas, are going to start to move their way up, with Barragan down in, Coppins in 6th, Barragan 7th, Philip Arts in 8th position, Salvini 9th, Ramon in 10th, De Sale, De Dijker, Schiefer down into 13th position, but Porcel starting to look very good at the front part of the field, chasing down Nagel on the 2009 Kawasaki. That is going to be a full works effort next year for Sebastian, and I think Nagel is starting to look on the terms of checking out on this one already. With 5 minutes gone of this race, we've got something like a 4-second gap between Nagel. He's looking for an overall podium on this one, got to be, to see the season out. Where's Nagel sitting in the championship? 6th position, with a shot of getting up past Coppins and possibly Barragan. So the Works KTM Red Bull rider starting to have his late charge to finish up in the overall point standing in the championship. Fight for 8th position, with Barragan dropping down ever so slightly. Don't count this guy out. He can do 35 minutes plus on this one. We've seen him drop down early on in the race and then come back up. And now, where's the charge for Philip Arts? 7th position behind his teammate, and see, let's say that in inverted commas, Coppins. I don't think they'll be sending Christmas cards to each other this year, but Coppins in 6th place might be told to get out the way and move over. He is chasing Julian Bill. There's not too much between 3rd position and where's Philip Arts? He's sitting down there. There's not a great deal between 3rd and something like about 9th position. Only a couple of seconds between those. As Porcel goes through in 2nd position, De Ruyver is in 3rd, McKenzie is in 4th, Julian Bill in 5th, Coppins is 6th, Philip Arts is 7th. So the two Monster Yamaha riders in team formation. De Dijker is chasing. He is going to want to get well stuck in with those two. And like I say, that is going to be an absolute race to watch. I'm sure we are going to get those three all over each other. Barragan down in 9th, De Sale moving up into 10th position. I can't remember, De Sale is changing teams next year. And Ramon, the championship is slipping away from him. He is in 11th place with Marcus Schiefer and Tanel Liok after another one of his late starts, moving up into 13th position. Philip Arts has got through on Coppins. I'm sure Coppins, somewhere along the line, has done the gentlemanly thing and moved over. So he'll be tracking him through. Now we've got the sight of Julian Bill, with Philip Arts tracking him down. The Swiss rider for the Honda Martin team has been extremely quiet over the last couple of races. It's all been the talk about Marc De Ruyver, and certainly the win at Lierop. It all went exactly the way they wanted to. There was champagne and there was a party all over the place with that Honda Martin team, and they could be looking for a good finish towards the end of the year if Marc keeps this up. Going to be interested if Philip Arts can get on terms with him. The Marc at the moment on the Martin Honda is back in 3rd position, some 8 seconds behind Anita Max de Gaal. Obviously the focus of the race is going to be on the two Suzukis and the Monster Yamaha, the number 19 machine of red plate holder, leader of the World Championship, David Philip Arts, as they hold the boards out, and the Suzuki team, they're telling De Dijker basically to just start to turn the screws on, because he is sitting in there right behind Philip Arts, and they can sense well, we saw it in Ireland, didn't we? They were messing around with each other. Either De Dijker was messing around with Philip Arts, trying to get into his head. Coppins, Barragan just going through the picture with De Sale closing in there on one of the Suzukis. Sale, one of these riders you really don't want to count out of the situation. Young rider has been going extremely well. As Ramon, what on earth is happening? Has the train gone off the rails, or is it the pressure just got too much? Through on the inside of Julian Bill, Philip Art's going through. The crowd are probably going to start to wind themselves up on this one. The Italian commentator had them absolutely bouncing off the ceilings. You can hear the air horns starting to go already, but we've still got 26 minutes plus of racing to go on this one. It's not over. The fat lady is not even tuning up to sing on this, as Philip Art's, dare I say it, riding sensibly. De Dijker is starting to come behind him, chasing Julian Bill to move up into what looks like about 5th, 6th, 7th position for those guys. And Julian Bill, not sure what's happening to him next year. Certainly isn't going to be part of the Honda Martin concern. I think one rider that is still looking for a home to go to. Will be around, I believe, in one of the teams for the donations, as De Dijker certainly going to be around for what I would say is going to be a fairly solid Belgian team for the donations, as De Dijker looks down and just telling him to focus. Unless you saw the word focus, Philip Art's on the pit board, just needing to get rid of that red and white Honda in front of him. As he pushes on, you could just see Coppins in the background. So as they went across the line, that of 5 seconds between Nagel and Porcel. Deruva some way back now, 13 seconds behind the leader. Mackenzie having a fairly quiet race at the moment. I would say at the moment, because he's got Philip Art's right behind him by about 2 seconds, with Julian Bill, De Dijker, Coppins, Barragan, De Sale, Ramon still down in 11th position. So a world champion in the offing down here. Are we going to see this end up? They'll be doing all the sums down there in the pits. They'll be working. There goes the Italians. They are, I wouldn't say they're starting to relax. It still looks like a very tense crowd down there, as Philip Art starts to home in on Mackenzie on the Cass Honda. Still no word from Cass as to where they're going next year for their second rider. I believe there is an announcement imminent. Could be out within the next week or so, with the departure earlier on in the season of Mike Brown. So, lack of practice for Billy. He could have done with probably about another day to get himself into the groove. Didn't manage to get out this week on the bike, on the 450 Honda. Thumbs up there from the factory Yamaha boys, as they are going to be nervously watching there. Philip Art's looking very relaxed as he came down the start-finish straight. Goes underneath the Hyundai bridge, just tracking down. They're lapping down now. What's Philip Art's doing? Into the 145s. Mackenzie's into the 147s at that last time around. Nagel and Porcel well out in front. They're lapping down into the 143 zone. So those are the two hot guys out there as Philip Art's goes through on Mackenzie. Now he's got Deruva right in front of him. Are we going to see that? There's those limited edition. I think everything's a limited edition. It will be around here. They're going to tear the place to pieces for souvenirs. Those posters that have got the 19 on the front and the 6 on the back, just in case you have to change your allegiance somewhere along the line. De Dijker is moving through. He is slicing through the field now in his chase, because this could be second place in the champion, well, an outside shot, the championship overall, because he was only 25 points behind Philip Art. So he could be Suzuki's main challenger if he can maintain this all over the back of Mackenzie like an absolute rash down there, and powering through on the Tekka Suzuki, just getting past the Cass Honda rider. Again, he's going to be in the GB team. That's a pretty strong team we've got, actually. I'll try and see if I can get some info on who the teams are. There's something like around about 30 odd teams for the donations. De Dijker pushing on. There's now got clear line of sight on Philip Art's in front of him. De Dijker has been running around the 145s. Philip Art's in the 146s. Pretty evenly matched, but Ken with a bit between his teeth. But this guy here is looking now fairly comfortable out the front. I think he's broken the toe from Porcel by the tune of 5 seconds. Nagel on the works Red Bull KTM. We know that he has been unbelievably quick out the gate, and he's done it yet again, and looking very, very smooth, I must admit, the young German, seeming fairly happy. Everybody in that KTM team actually seemed quite relaxed, despite the fact there was a huge amount of pressure down there for them to gain a World Championship, certainly in MX2, as we've just seen with Tyler Rattray taking the championship literally by finishing in second position, and making sure that Tommy Searle is the teammate has got had absolutely no recourse to come back and gain more points off him. But Nagel is fighting with Coppins and Barragan and Porcel for something like 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th position overall in the World Championship. Just outside that zone, which has got Philippart, Ramon and De Dijker for the top 3, and Barragan not having a cracking race at the moment, down in 9th position, Coppins down in 8th, Julian Bill in 7th, Mackenzie is into 6th position, Dijker 5th, 4th is Philippart, with one hand I think coming on to that World Championship, because Ramon is down in 13th position, has been overtaken by Schiefer and Leok in the last few laps. So it is not happening down in the Tekka Suzuki team, not for the guy that they thought had the best shot at this year's World Championship. The number 1 plate holder coming out of 2007. It's, I think, slipping out of his fingers here at Faenza in Italy. Porcel pushing on. He's going to be a factor certainly for next year. De Ruyver riding confidently. If he can get himself used to these hard packed tracks, we know he is the Sandmeister, and anything that's as it said in the press conference last week for the pole position holder. If you look in the dictionary, or look in Wikipedia, or whatever you want to look in Google, etc, etc, if you look up sand and motocross, you'll find the name De Ruyver next to it, and just putting a bit of a mark on that. A guy that did ride absolutely superbly last weekend was Philippart. I literally had marked my card and said that Ramon was going to come out with about 14-15 point lead in the championship, and then it would be all over the shop when we got to Italy. It was not to be. It was the 14-point lead in the championship was going the way of the monster Yamaha rider in David Philippart, and that firmly put the ball in his court. And despite the fact that that awning around by the monster Yamaha team was absolutely chock-a-block with Italian humanity, he has managed to soak the pressure up and actually look probably more relaxed than I've seen him for a long time. I believe we're going down to the Suzuki pits to get their view on the situation down there. I think why De Dijker, who is just coming into the picture, he is literally on the ball, is going like a train and closing back up on Philippart. But what on earth has happened to Steve Ramon down there? I think we need some sort of explanation, as De Ruyver on the Martin Honda is on his way for the moment to 3rd position.
Lorenzo, some good opening laps for Mark. Now the Dijker and Philippart are coming up very fast. How do you think Mark will change his riding now?
No, I don't think he will change his riding. Of course, David is just 2 seconds behind him, but he's riding very, very well on a track that is like a little bit of hard pack and it's not so easy for him, but he's doing well, and we're really proud to be in the middle of this fight for the championship.
Thank you.
Welcome.
De Ruyver at the present moment in time in 10th position overall in the World Championship, just behind Billy Mackenzie, Tunnel Leok, Sebastian Porcel. So could have an effect on his position, certainly when it comes down to the wire. Battle going on now. Game on. It looks as though De Dijker has decided that he's going to take, and Coppins is coming through as well. I think, is that somebody else? No, sorry, wrong. Almost the right coloured shirt, but not quite. I thought we had Coppins coming through like a train there, but Philippart's riding sensibly. De Dijker has gone, and I think Philippart's knows that it's just a little bridge too far for De Dijker to move up on him, and has let him slip through. His focus now is going to be on De Ruyver in front of him, and as Lorenzo said down into the interview we just had in the pits, as we watched De Dijker going through on the inside, And Philip Hart's pretty much let him have that one because he's not a danger to his championship aspirations, not unless something disastrous happens to the Italian, who at the moment is probably back there in about 5th or 6th position. So keeping an eye out with Nagel still in the lead from Sebastian Porcel by 9 seconds. Philip Hart takes a good line, a good fast line up that hill and gets past De Ruyver. Not the best surface for Mark. He is known as a sand rider, soft strength sapping. Big rider is De Ruyver, running around about 6'2", 6'3", the same as the Dijker. And De Dijker could be feeling this towards the end of this race. We've still got well over 16 minutes to go, plus the 2 laps. And Kem, one of the more traditional, what I would call motocross size riders, most of them now seems to be around about the Max Nagel size, around about 70 odd kilos. Oh, Porcel has had a problem. That is, I think, he's had a collision with the side of the track. Now, did I see a piece of the fencing almost caught up or moving around in that back hub? It'd be interesting to see whether that's going to affect. This is, I think, almost like a Josh Coppins situation. Saw a marshal down there waving a flag, almost waving a flag around down into that corner. Don't know what was going on there, as the flag was not unfurled. That might have upset some of the riders as they went through that situation. So De Dijker moving on, now up into 3rd position. De Ruyver is in 4th, Philip Hart's is 5th, Mackenzie 6th, Julian Bill 7th, still riding well. Coppins is 8th, 9th is Barragan, 10th is Schiefer. Now Porcel has got, this is French GP time, as per Coppins, got caught up in the fence. Has he come out of there? I don't think Porcel's come out of that one. He's disappeared. I think you're going to see Porcel disappear off the lap chart, unless my eyes deceive me. He went around that corner and disappeared. Yep, he's in the pits. He's going to have that fencing cleared, and no, that is it. Not a happy French bunny down there at all. So, not what they wanted to see at this last GP. They were in with a shout there of getting up onto the podium overall. Tunnel Leop in Ireland was on the top step of the podium, but I don't think it's going to happen this time around. That's moved everybody up one place, so De Dijker is now in 2nd, Philip Hart's, De Ruyver, Mackenzie, Bill, Coppins, Barragan, Schiefer and De Sale in 10th position now. Ramon still down in 12th. This is a huge amount of points. Yellow flags are happening down the bottom part of that course. I don't think there's anybody in the top part of the section, but I think this is now getting to the point where there is one hand definitely on that championship, Philip Hart, and I think some of the crowd are starting to warm to this as he is tracking down De Dijker. Still lapping pretty much on the 146, 147 mark, those two, but the guy out in front who we haven't seen for a little while is Ramon, struggling in 12th position. Really, this is not the result that the Tech Suzuki team wanted to see. I thought that Ramon, after 2nd position in the time practice yesterday in the qualifying, looked to be back on the planet after what they only could come down to saying it was just all in the head. Something knocked the confidence last weekend of Steve Ramon, and really it just went all backwards down at what should have been one of his favoured circuits down at Meerop in Holland. It just did not happen last weekend, and that was points lost on the board. While Philip Hart's went in and scored 36 points, it was only 27 to Ramon, and he needed to come in with a good amount of points out of that race to stand a chance of hanging on to his champ. De Ruyver on a very good charge towards the late end of the season. Also went out to race to one of the AMA rounds, and finished up 2nd, I believe, in one race to the all-conquering Mr. Stewart out there, who's going to come across and lead the challenge of what seems like an fairly invincible American team that's going to come across for the Nations. So Philip Hart's around in third position. De Ruyver behind him in fourth. McKenzie still holding a very good fifth position with this lot queuing up behind him. Julian Bill, Jonathan Barragan. That looks like Coppins is still in there as well with a shout. Marcus Schiefer having a better race. There was hoping that Learop was going to be a good race for Marcus because, again, another sand track specialist. And really starting to mix a few ones into the mix there. Ramon on the back, well back into that pack there. There's still a heck of a lot of racing down in this part of the world as we come down to what I call the nicer part. And it'll be interesting to find out what the view is from the Yamaha team as they're watching, probably sweating on the fact that Philip Hartz is sitting in favourable position. That looked like Coppins going through on somebody there as we took a look at this dogfight. There's Barragan, there's Julian Bill on the second Martin Honda. And right behind them, I believe that's Schiefer and Coppins fighting out tooth and nail. So excellent fight going on for the crowd while they are willing the Italian on to win the championship. They've actually got a race going on down there where everybody, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 riders in with a shout of about 5th place backwards. There goes Josh Coppins, moving over to has moved over to the UK, around about the Bristol area. And he's going to be based over there, and obviously has got his 2009 contract with the Monster Racing Yamaha team. Well and truly the ink's dried off on that one from a few GPs ago. That looks like the sale coming through as well.
David is doing a fantastic and brave race. He's still not world champion. How is the team experiencing this much pressure?
I think it's for a championship you have to wait second moto, but in this first moto is starting really good. I think he's not really nervous because he riding smooth, he don't make mistake, but he pass also other riders, so he riding really good. And the team, yeah, is a little bit nervous, but this is normal.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Well, I think we still detect a little bit of nervousness down there. It's getting down to that point where mathematically, the way things are running at the moment, with Philip Hartz in third position, and Ramon down in 12th. The gap points-wise is starting to get to throw the calculator away. It's not going to be possible very, very soon. We're going to have to wait towards the end of this race while we let people play around with bits of paper and sums in the background as Barragan decides that now it's his turn to charge. We've got past the 10-minute mark. And this is where a lot of these guys start to turn away. Whoa! De Ruyver has had a problem down there and got stuck. That's about the others. That is down in 4th, 5th and 6th position. McKenzie had to slow down, so the two Hondas were riding nose to tail. That's given Barragan the advantage. He has moved up now to 5th place. But he's moved past into 6th. De Ruyver down into 7th. And still in with a shout. I mean, there is a lot of points to be played with. Porcel back out. I thought the body language of Porcel when he came into the pits is telling me that he was out of the race and not going to happen. So they've obviously decided to give him a minor league talking to down there and say, right, back on the bike, come on, you're a couple of points more in the bag and it's not going to matter. This is the traffic jam with De Ruyver not coming off the bike. Now, whether it dropped out of gear or whether he just stalled it, don't know. Didn't see the beginning of that one, but dropping 2 places as Mackenzie's coming back to life again. As this guy here, Jonathan Barragan, still in with the AXO KTM Silver Action Team for next year, will receive full work supported bike in that satellite team, so we'll have a chance next year in what is going to be a massively competitive MX1 championship. A small bonfire going on the inside of the circuit. Don't know what was going on down there. Somebody's got barbecue going already. Smoke all over the shop. Nagel on his way, has over the Dyker in second position, 27 seconds lead, so has taken this one right from the gate, dropping trying to put a good end, exclamation point, to the end of the season, and also mark his card for 2009 is Max, riding superbly well, absolutely armchair style here. Really is taking this race and has soaked up all the pressure that everybody's thrown at him in the early laps. And it'll be interesting to see what Stefan Everts has got to say about that, as we are going to move down, I believe, very swiftly down to the KTM pits and have a word with the fact that they are now going to get another race win out of this in MX1, as well as obviously the World Championship in MX2. So, ploughing on relentlessly, Max Nagel with a 1:46. De Dijker up in the ante a bit with a 1:45, 1 minute 45 second lap, still trying to close up on him. Philip Art's keeping pace with him. He is about 3 seconds behind De Dijker last time around. I think the gap might just
Stefan,
about
fantastic
4.
race for Tyler in the first moto. He's now world champion, and now it's time for Max to keep up the KTM good work.
Yeah, it seems so. Today is a KTM day. The first race, it's a great day. After 4 years, we got another world champion title. Tyler did a good job, so we believed in him. And now what Max is showing, it's outstanding.
Thank you and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, KTM with the championship already in the bag, and I think 2 race wins, with one looking relatively secure, or as secure as it's going to get, with a 26-second lead over De Dijker on the Tekka Suzuki in second position for Max Nagel. It really is looking at the moment is it's going to be KTM day here in Italy. I don't know about KTM day, it's going to be Philip Art's day at the moment, with still third position, 30 seconds behind the leader. That doesn't matter, that's not a problem for Philip Arts, because we're looking to see Ramon is still down in 11th position. So that is the thing that Philip Arts need, which is points on the board, and a lot of them, to keep that championship back. It's been a long time since Italy has had a world champion. Obviously, the what-ifs are going to say, well, what if Caroli hadn't got injured? Would Italy have had 2 world champions? Who knows? We'll never find out, because Caroli is going to move up to MX1. Philip Arts is obviously going to stay in MX1. The Dijker, I would imagine, is going to stay with Tekka Suzuki for next year. Perhaps it would have been a case of we've seen Ken trying to help out Steve Ramon as his teammate. If he'd been let off the leash earlier on, and taking a quick look over the shoulder to find who's going to be there. Barragan about 13 seconds behind, so nobody there. So De Dijker 13 seconds in front of Barragan, and about 4 seconds or so behind Philip Arts, with coming up to 4 minutes plus 2 laps of this race to go. It's almost started to settle down that all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle are going to fit together. It just remains to be seen whether De Dijker can actually get in front of his teammate for second place overall in the championship. That's going to be one to call down there. So third position for Philip Arts on the Yamaha motocross works bike, and the icing on the cake for Philip Arts is going to be to hopefully, still say hopefully, you never know what's going to happen in this game, hopefully win the World Championship at his home nation. Pretty much sure he's going to race in donations for the Italian team. It was in some doubt at one time, but now I think we've sorted the difficulties out. Just looking to see how far Deruva is behind him. No, it's Barragan just behind him. It was about, I think, about 10 to 12 seconds last time around. I think the gap has stayed, roughly speaking, about the same as De Dijker is in and amongst the back markers. Philip Arts just going through as well. Just trying to get a clear passage through So Barragan, no real danger to Philip Arts at the moment, some 14 seconds behind, with well under 3 minutes, coming up to the 2-minute mark now, and De Dijker just about within shot of the sight of David Philip Arts, who has rode a superb race, hasn't got into any trouble, has always looked in control. Whatever position he's been in, moving up into 3rd position now, I think is going to be pretty much enough. Ramon has just moved up into 10th position. Flags going on down there. Don't think that was anybody. That looked like one of the back markers. It was a treble number on that, so nothing that's going to affect the World Championship or the overall lead of this race, which is still being held by Max Nagel with the KTM. In front by, I think it was about, almost getting on to about 20 odd seconds in front of this guy, Ken De Dijker, on the Tekka Suzuki. Again, not De Dijker's favourite conditions to race in. He is another, obviously, a Belgian nationality. They love playing in the sandpits, certainly around in Lommel and Lierop and Valtensvoort. 26 seconds is the lead between Nagel and De Dijker, with Philip Arts was some 4-5 seconds behind. That is still the case, some 5 seconds behind De Dijker, and these guys are cruising. Philip Arts on a 1:48 lap, and Nagel and De Dijker on 1:47. Josh Coppins, who was going unbelievably quick in the second moto at Lierop, didn't realise that he was challenging for the lead. Thought he was something like about 5th place back, which was why he was going so hard before his second race at Lierop came to a finish in and amongst a straw bale, but managed to get back on again and finish in the top 10. Ramon in the 11th position, chasing Coppins down. Schiefer in front of him in 9th. Julian Bill, a good ride in 8th position. Clement de Sale in 7th for the Initech Suzuki team. That's going to be a good race for him. Mackenzie still hanging on in 6th position. De Ruyver in 5th. Barragan in 4th. Philip Arts in 3rd position. World champion-elect maybe, question mark it says there, as Ramon trying to close in on Coppins in front of him, with De Dijker and Nagel in 2nd and 1st places respectively. So next time around these guys are going to see 2 laps to go, and what is coming to the climax of the World Championship season for MX1, with the title drifting away from the Tekka Suzuki rider Steve Ramon as he chases down Josh Coppins. They're fighting for 10th position. Ramon really should be up higher than that, but has struggled over the last 2 events with really, we can't say what it is, but Philip Arts has soaked the pressure up, and I think it's got to Ramon. I think it's all been just that bit too much. Winning the World Championship is fine, hanging on to it, and being a World Champion for a 2nd time in a row, because everybody expects you to be up with the sharp end of the field, is really sometimes just a little bit too far for some people. It looks as though that could be the way for Steve Ramon. Could be a slim chance if we look down onto the points at the end of this race. If it's anything less than 25 points, there is still an absolutely minuscule chance that Ramon could pull something out of the bag. We'll just have to wait until we get down to the end part of this race. But chasing Coppins down at the moment, obviously knowing that he needs to get up to stand any chance of the championship with more points on the board. Really clawing desperately away at the back of Coppins' bike. As we know, Josh is pretty good coming on late in the race, so Ramon has had to draw on some huge reserves down there to hang on to the back of the very likeable Kiwi, who is circulating around. These guys are in 10th and 11th position now. It could be a familiar sight next year with the likes of Caroli and Rattray moving up into MX1, and a number of other riders starting to make their way up into that part of the equation. But here's a guy who has led. Once we get down to all the calculations and the stats at the end of this GP, you're going to see that this guy has led every single lap around this course here at Faenza. Max Nagel on his last lap has got 27.5 seconds over Kenda Dijker. Gonna have to run out of petrol and the wheels fall off of it. Don't say that too loudly, because obviously that you never know what's going to happen. But cruising now to another 25 points to add to his tally, and hopefully look towards finishing the season on the top step of the podium when we come out for race 2 for these guys. But a faultless race from Max Nagel, the extremely likeable young German. Another one of these youngsters had a quick look over his shoulder, a couple of looks over the shoulder from Max to find out if anybody is still there, and I'm afraid that for the rest of them there is nobody home. He is out on his own. Like I say, 27 seconds between De Dijker and first position. Philip Hart still in third, Barragan in fourth, De Ruyver in fifth position, Mackenzie is in sixth, De Sale seventh, Julian Bill is in 8th place, Marcus Schiefer is 9th, Josh Coppins 10th, Steve Ramon in 11th position. Across the line, checkered flag time for Max Nagel, and obviously not as many celebrations. The KTM team suffering probably from excessive celebration after a race, but certainly a good win here, and everything was possible for De Dijker. That, I think, is going to start to move him up for a runner-up in the championship as he crosses the line. The crowd are going bonkers down there because Philip Hartz has just crossed the line in third position, and that has got to be one hand on the World Championship, I'm sure, because we're still waiting for Ramon to come across the line, and almost there, I think, is there. Everybody is coming along. De Ruyver is coming along, Mackenzie's coming along, and I think that is almost done and dusted for Philip Hartz. Ramon's just come across the line in 11th position. Max Nagel across to I think we're going to try and get a couple of quick words with him, because I think there's a number of people sitting there with calculators doing their sums extremely quickly down here to find out how many points Philip Hartz has got to get in that last race on the card here, to which I'm pretty much thinking is going to be a virtual victory lap. Anything more than 25 points and that is it, the championship is in his hands. So tense time for the Italian crowd down here, and Nagel with a very, very solid victory. 22 laps, I believe, he led this race, and be interesting to see what these guys have got to say when they get in, because De Dijker has come on unbelievably strong in the late part of the season. Most of these guys probably going to start to move their way through to that Yamaha, just getting a bit of a race brief there between the mechanics and Philip Hartz, and I think the way it was going there was probably one or two close calls. Congratulations from the Sporting League, from the Tekka team there. You just saw a flash of yellow shirt in the background, and also the KTM mechanics. So this guy, another 25 points on the board, and the race win going to Max Nagel. Nagel wins, De Dijker in second place, Philip Hartz third, Barragan in fourth place, Mackenzie fifth, De Ruyver sixth, Julian Bill seventh, and De Sale for Initech Suzuki in eighth position. The Honda Martin team coming in team formation. Schiefer, Coppins, Ramon, Church, Micek, Prem, Correa and Renet bring out down to 16th, with Salvini, Campana, Aranda, Leonce up to 20th place. So waiting for Sebastian Porcel recovering to come home in 25th position, and not a good day for the Aprilias, down in 28th for Cedric Malot. But they are going to be back stronger next year with the only twin cylinder machine in the championship. Looking forward to a full Aprilia Works effort for MX1 next year. championship position, and it's getting closer for Philip Hartz. Must be getting closer. Mathematically, it is still possible. Dijker is 23 points, I think, just behind him. Ramon is out of the picture, I'm pretty sure. 24 points, that might have been. But Philip Hart's still in the lead of the championship. There is a slim hope that the Taka Suzuki guys could just about edge this one if he has a really bad, I mean disastrously bad, biblical proportions, second race. Moving down through the field, Mike Brown, Steve Boniface, both had their crack at the CAS team, and like I say, they are going to be looking to sign up for their second rider in the very near future. I haven't got an idea who it is at the moment. I know they're looking in various places, but the rest of the championship dropping down right the way through with 3 points down there in 48th position for Jordan Rose. We won't know until we get there underneath these lovely blue Italian skies, and it's almost a perfect end to what has almost been the perfect season.